Welcome to another edition of ZANTASTIC. This is the podcast where we find out what makes you fantastic. In this episode, I talk to a good friend of mine in the WordPress space. Her name is Raquel Manriquez, and Raquel is putting on a conference in April that is really of service to the entire WordPress community. She's reviving an older conference called Pressnomics, but it's turned into something else. But this is more about Raquel's journey and her vision for this event. I think it fits in because Raquel herself has gone through a personal journey of growth and exploration about who she really is and where she fits in this community. Whether you're in WordPress or you're not, I think you'll get a lot from this. So without further ado, let's dive into that interview.
I'm doing so well. It's actually one of my favorite questions that gets asked of me recently because it's not without challenges and it's not that it's easy, but I am super high on life overall.
That is awesome. Wow. You'll need to share some of that. You
Okay.
have a you have a lot going on right now. You've had a job change or a career change,
Yes.
really. Tell me
Yes.
more.
Yeah, I haven't even really officially announced it, but I mean, I've been talking about it pretty openly. But two things, I started my own business and I left my position at Elegant Themes of almost 6 years just at in the toward the end of January. So it is very new.
Wow.
And yeah, it wasn't necessarily the plan to leave, but as I started growing my new business and started with this big, huge first event, it really became clear that I could not do both. And
Yeah.
it made sense to stick with the one where my giftings lie and to let go of Elegant Themes, which was wonderful. Very much appreciated the 6 years out of my life that they were there for me. I was there for them. But it was time. And now I'm doing my own
Yeah.
thing.
You are doing your own thing, and your own thing is event marketing. Tell me, well, tell our audience. I already know, like, you are the
Okay.
goddess of event marketing, but how did you get into events?
Oh man. It's one surreal to hear you say that. So thank you. But I think so much comes from discovering what you really truly shine at and what you're really good at. And for me, it marries two things with events, and that's one, I've been seeing a lot of just news, I guess, around don't follow your passion, follow your talent. And I get it. But for me it's both. It's
Yeah.
both talent and passion. And one is this is what I'm good at. It took me a
Yeah.
long time to kind of figure that out. And I did it for years for free, sometimes with you, Kathy.
Yes.
And loved it. Always loved it. And ended every single iteration of that, of any event, wanting to do it again and ready for the next one where others feel completely burnt out and I need to rest. I'm like charged. And
Yeah.
at the same time, my one of my passions is human connection. And I really
Mhm.
truly believe that I'm put on this earth to help facilitate human connection. And in-person events is one of the best places to see that sort of magic and serendipity happen between two humans or multiple humans.
Yeah.
So that was, I mean, I don't know if that's fully answering well, yeah, that's kind of how I discovered it essentially.
Yeah.
And then so for just a formal answer, I planned a lot of WordCamps since 2015, a lot. And those are volunteer ran. So I did it for free
Yeah.
and also did some other events too for my kids' schools and just PTA, PTO booster things, and really loved it every single time. And thought one day I would do it for, me for actual
Yeah.
work. And the opportunity came when I saw the community that drives the WordPress economy really cry out to bring back an old beloved event. And I thought I could bring this event back. If anybody could, I could.
Yes.
And I did.
So the old event was Pressnomics,
Hmm.
and so that wasn't happening anymore. I think we were both at the last one that was done in Tucson, and
Yeah.
it has been quite a few years, but you actually talked to Sally Strouble, who was organizing that previously and said you wanted to bring it back?
Yeah, there's a series of sort of catalytic events that led up to me saying, "Oh my gosh, this has just got to happen." And so, last almost a year ago, probably around this time, March, maybe
Wow.
April last year, I reached out to Josh and Sally, founders of Pagely, founders of Pressnomics, and just shared my heart. Just was like, one, the community wants this, and I think I can do it. And at first, it was like, let's bring back Pressnomics, let's get you guys on the team.
Yeah.
And Pressnomics, the name just didn't work out to get it from its current trademarked owner, and they are just living the retired life. God bless them for that. So
Yeah.
I just thought I could do it still. Kind of, I did want to get their blessing because essentially it was going to be the same event, just a new name.
Yeah.
But it was important to me to do things in good faith. Like I didn't want it
Sure.
to be weird, and I'm not one who is this exploitive competitor. That's just not me. That's just not Raquel. I really truly love, and I firmly believe that there's enough for everybody to go around. So for that reason, it was important for me to still fully disclose to them and get their blessing.
Yeah. So now the new event is PressConf?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's happening when?
April 23rd through 26th in Tempe, at Tempe Mission Palms, which is
Nice.
where four of the six iterations in the past took place. So it's a wonderful location. I love it.
Oh, that's amazing. And I've been watching on socials all these speaker announcements. I love how you trickle those out to kind of keep everybody engaged, keep it top of mind. People are on Instagram scrolling, looking for, funny dog videos, and it's like, oh, look who's speaking at PressConf.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, the vibe was because it's different. It's not like a big trade show or a word camp where there's multiple tracks, multiple speakers, or I should say ton of speakers. We wanted to do it in this sort of teaser way and then
Yeah,
announce closer to the event what the speakers will be talking about. So that's what we did. Just announced a
nice.
speaker, announced no topic, one at a time. And then now, pretty soon, we're going to be starting the campaign of like revealing what every speaker is going to be talking about. And that definitely is a marketing reason,
Yeah,
and we want everyone to attend the sessions because this event is not like another big trade show or WordCamp where you kind of skip sessions. Every single one of these sessions, one track will be super amazing and opportunities to learn, opportunities to be challenged. So we're like, we need to make sure that we get the message across that you're not going to want to miss these
yeah.
sessions.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So you have you're going to have speakers, you're going to have sessions. Is there sponsorships, or is it like a word camp, or is it going to be a little different?
I mean, definitely different. You're gonna see people you do see at a word camp. I do say that though, it's as if you took the hallway track at a word camp and then brought them all to another event together. And
Yeah,
if you feel that you're part of that hallway track, then you are welcome. And we don't screen attendees. I don't want anyone thinking that like, oh, you have to meet a certain criteria. No, the idea is to anyone driving the WordPress economy and essentially making money off of WordPress.
yeah,
This is for you. Where a WordCamp has a lot of users and hobbyists and people learning, which is beautiful and wonderful. And that's honestly what a WordCamp is for. But what a lot of the attendees at a press comp were finding a lack at a WordCamp was on the business side, on
sure.
that sort of like more mastermind, you know, I say executive, but not in a corporate style when it comes to executive, but more like being surrounded by people who are also in the trenches with your WordPress
Right.
agency or product company, and being able to have like super close access to other people like that, as opposed to having to be, I guess, have to, I don't want to say weed through, but I can't think of a better way to put this. WordCamp, which has a ton of attendees that are just there to learn,
Hmm.
and this one just kind of puts everybody in the same room together and
Yeah.
makes it be an easier opportunity for serendipity.
Yeah. So it's definitely more of a business of WordPress type of conference
Yeah.
rather than a WordPress. Like nobody's there to learn the difference between posts and pages. We're talking about like the economy of WordPress and the business of building sites for people and everything that goes into that, right?
Yeah, very much. I will say that it's not the buttoned up version of
Yeah.
a like WordPress business conference. It is definitely still like a t-shirt and jeans sort of vibe. Uh, but a really good way is like when I talked about being in the trenches, like, you know, those who have been in the trenches, and we're going to share some war stories with each other,
Yeah.
you know, where I would say a like more so buttoned up business of WordPress conference would be so like how to business, which is
Yeah.
super, super valuable and maybe more exec in that sense. But a press conf is, you know, one, the sessions are not recorded, they're not
Right.
live streamed. And that's for a couple of reasons. It is an intimate event,
Hmm.
and those speakers are on that stage, and I want them to feel safe to be vulnerable
Sure.
and to share from their heart and to share the war stories and to like really get kind of down and dirty with each other.
Yeah.
And we're I mean, we could talk more about this, but we're faced with and current climate, you know, with the future of WordPress and what this is going to look like. So now more than ever, which is pure coincidence, my event predated everything that's going on. I want this opportunity at this event to be available for anyone who wants to really talk, you know,
Yeah.
and those some of those sessions are going to be kind of challenging in that sense, but all of it will be for a good reason. And if
Right.
anyone's feathers get ruffled, it's going to be because you feel like challenged and you feel like we got to do something, you know,
Yeah.
as a community. And so that's really why that this sort of business of WordPress conference is happening. But because of the state of everything, and coincidentally, it already was a sort of like let your hair down sort of event, but still business. But
Yeah.
now more than ever, it's the perfect opportunity for this sort of in the trenches business of WordPress conference as opposed to the buttoned up. So
Yeah.
that's how it's gonna be.
It's it's what the community needs right now. And
So much.
but when you started, you didn't think it was going like the genesis of this whole idea started before there were some challenges in the community and emotions really got heated. How did you when you started seeing all of that happening, what did you think about like did you consider not having the event or did it just like dig in further like I need to do this? Like what was your emotional
Hmm.
reaction to seeing what your attendees and the people who would be coming like what they were going through?
Well, it definitely, I think, grew and evolved much like the drama grew and evolved. You know, we announced officially the Monday before WordCamp US in Portland. You were there,
Yeah.
Kathy,
Yeah.
and that Friday is when the beginning of the drama began. You know, I mean, it is what it is. The the nuclear war on, you know, between two big, huge companies in our industry had begun. And then it continued to grow and more uh, information, information that made us uncomfortable, and information we didn't like was revealed. And so it wasn't like this immediate like idea or sort of vision. But as that drama sort of grew, I started to really kind of understand what I want. And I remember right after Portland, heading to the Netherlands and then heading to beach camping. And I was essentially completely gone from the world for like 3 weeks. And by the time I got back in the seat of like my desk and really trying to see what's happening, I knew two things. And I told the team immediately. I said, more than ever, this conference is happening and we need it more than ever. And two things need to happen. One is the conference will not be weaponized. Like
Mm,
nobody at this conference will be unwelcome. All will be welcome. And it's not going to be the anti insert whatever company event.
yeah.
It's not going to be that at all. It's just not, because I immediately felt this charge that this was for all of our community, and that if all of our community is going to be there, they all have to feel safe. So that was the second, was
Yeah.
that this is safe for all, won't be weaponized, and is
Yeah.
safe for all. And by that, I've had lots of conversations with sponsors of what that looks like, and essentially the biggest safety is that this event is literally ran by me, and I don't
Yeah.
work for either of these companies, and I never have. Obviously, I've served both of these companies in many capacities in the past, and have loved it and will continue to. But it is truly an independent event, and I'm the one running it, and I have a team of organizers that are helping me, and it is my uh, vision that is being implemented and will not I don't know, like, will not be shaken. I try to think of
Yeah.
how to describe that. I'm not going to change that. This
Yeah.
event will not be weaponized. It will not be anti whatever company you hate right now, and it will be safe, because I want us to
Right.
get better together. And I
Yeah.
really truly think we could, or at least some seeds could be planted. And at this point, right now, it is the only one that I know of that's truly an independent space specifically for WordPress and those making money off of WordPress. And all are welcome to get
Yeah.
together and to figure this out together.
So
Yeah.
you've really put the needs of the community more than anything ahead of anything else. This isn't a marketing for .org. It's not marketing for
Mm-mm.
any company. It is not like, I mean, you have sponsors, but it's not necessarily their needs are subservient to the community needs, to the needs of the health of the community.
Yeah. And, I think if anyone who knows me, I'm sure is not surprised that this
Yeah.
would be my angle. But at the same time, it's important that I hold strong to that. And there's reasons to feel afraid too. You know, um, I definitely have opinions that I'm, on the whole drama issue, and I uh, still hold those opinions. But I'm the type of person who believes that anything's possible, and I think it's a gift and a curse. And so with this event, it truly is a labor of love. And I'm embarrassed to say that, because I think a lot of people struggle with that. I don't personally feel embarrassed. It's almost like the embarrassment comes with a warning. Like, hey, I'm going to talk about some things that people tend to get uncomfortable with. And anytime the word love is used, people really struggle with it, because one, I think everybody agrees that we all need love. But when it comes down to it, our actions often don't agree with it. And whenever we have sort of absolutist mentality, we can't grow and we can't get
Sure.
better. It just is what it is. And so for me, the whole idea of bringing Pressnomics, now PressConf, back was because the community had an outcry and I felt like I could do it. And then when everything sort of started to get riled up and drama was happening, even more so, I was like, why does this exist? What is the why? Here where we are today, 2025, this is what we're facing. It's got to be for this. And I'm a
Hmm.
big why girl. I know we talked about it, like I love Simon Sinek. I call him a spirit human. And you got to have a why
Yeah.
for everything, and a
Yeah.
why can't be, there's certain things it can't be, and we don't need to go into that right now just because it'll take forever. But for me, it was like, this isn't about money. This is about, yes, there was this opportunity to marry my talent and my passion together. And yes, I do have my company that I'm starting, but PressConf is a labor of love, especially for this time and how much our community needs it more than ever. And I'm
Yeah.
going to protect that.
That's amazing and it's commendable. And honestly, or WordPress needs it right now. It needs the connections. I mean, we've been through a lot, not just with the drama, but having the pandemic and all of the WordCamp,
Mm,
the momentum that was happening with WordCamps across the world it stalled, we weren't getting together, we weren't connecting. I remember the first WordCamp Phoenix after the pandemic where everybody was back together and Matt Clancy stood on stage and people were just like relieved and excited, and just there was just cheers in that room because everybody was so excited to just like see each other again. And that energy that's there, it feels adrift right now. And I think having some of the people who have also, you have the labor of love of bringing people together. Well, a lot of people are very invested in the success of the community, and so you're giving platform to it, giving space for it, and I think WordPress needs that right now. And so I just commend you for being brave and doing this. That's
Thank you. There's definitely been scary moments,
yeah,
and even some of the speakers we've announced have been met with hostility, virtual hostility, right? But that kind of sticks with you, and it's been a lot of opportunity for growth personally, because I feel like
yeah,
if you don't have the haters, the naysayers, then you're probably not doing something right. And I've been taking it as validation, and it
yes,
hurts and it sucks, but I also think that the people who are also hating on some of it are also hurting, and they have a s- they what's they have a space at the table too,
yeah,
and it like bravery is a big thing, and you just mentioned that. And it's because you have to be brave enough to do something that people are not going to like. But I think ultimately, at the end of the day, most see the value and appreciate that this isn't a divisive event. This isn't a separation of, sides event. And that this is a, hey, if we're going to figure this out, we got to figure it out together. And
yeah,
let's see what we could come up with. But it's
yeah.
scary. At times, it's scary.
That means you're living outside of your comfort zone. I
For
mean,
that,
you're definitely. I've seen you work WordCamp Phoenix, WordCamp US. You have made these events you made these events what they were in a lot of ways. I mean, you always had big vision and big ideas, and just the way you pulled everything together, which is why I call you the goddess of events. I
that's
mean,
so
you do
funny.
that, you do all of that, but this is a little outside of your comfort zones, right?
Hmm.
There's
So
nobody
much.
else establishing rule. I mean, with WordCamps, there was an organization that set rules and boundaries,
Totally.
and there was almost like this net around you in terms of, but now you have free form and it's all you, right? So you are outside of comfort zones, but that's where you grow, right?
So much. And I mean, I'm a recovering people pleaser, and that's where it's outside of my comfort zone. And I say
Yeah.
recovering because I've really truly grown and worked on it, and I have hardly any more tendencies toward that. But I don't ever want to get back to there. So I say recovering. It's like
Yeah.
it'll always be my inherent self to be this people pleaser. And so that people pleaser in me doesn't want to upset anybody,
Yeah.
and so that's where it's out of my comfort zone. But when everything started happening and unraveling, I just knew that it had to happen, and it had to be this way. It had to be where everyone was invited, even if that makes people uncomfortable. And there's been people that I care about deeply in our community that have reached out to me and have come at it in this way of like, hey, I love you, I support you, Raquel, and I trust you, but I also am kind of scared. And they had legit issues to share their opinions on certain speakers. And I just shared my heart continuously with them. And I was like, I get that you're scared, but and I'm not going to say I'm not, but like, how else are we going to do this if we don't include everybody? And
Yes.
that, so all of it, every step of the way, with ever since it became clear that this is our world right now, full of drama,
Yeah.
has been this is going to be challenging. It's not going to be easy. That there will be people who will just be absolute haters. There will be people that will be scared, but are still going to come to the table. But that
Mm.
if I just continue on, make the steps, as scary as it is, it will happen. And like you said, it is an opportunity for growth. And
Yeah.
I love that. The past 7 years of my life have just been nonstop growth, nonstop growth. Some of the worst, horrible moments of my life, and some of the top most growth moments of my life. And it is continuing down that path. And I want to share that with everybody. It can't be just me,
Yeah.
and I think that this is going to happen. This is part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have a vision? Now, for me, and I don't want to, I don't want you to answer this question if you don't want to go there. But do
Okay.
you have a, do you, because part of me is like, I look at it as like, I don't want to put anything on it. I want it to be what it is. I want it to evolve the way, I don't know, spirit, God intends, but we have this intent that we're going into it with, right? Do you have a vision of like what this event can do for the community? Sort of like, what do you hope happens from this?
Yeah, I do. One thing I am very bad at, which is not very Simon Sinek of me, is to like literally have the sentence, fleshed out and to just say, here's the vision, here's the why. But I do have it.
You
And
do.
and that is that PressConf is a medium that helps propel our community forward in problem solving.
Yeah.
And it is scary to me because I go bigger, I go home, and sometimes I hate that about me. And I mean, you brought that up earlier and about working with me in the past, especially with like WordCamp Phoenix and how I had these grand ideas. And one of the big ones I remember so vividly was I wanted to, and you were there, I wanted to have that dance lesson at the after party.
Yeah.
And literally almost the whole team, I don't remember you saying much, but they were like, I don't know, Raquel, I don't think this is going to go well, and I just don't think anyone's going to attend. And for whatever reason, they trusted me and we went forward and it blew my mind. Even I was surprised. 80 people showed up,
Yeah.
and that event I think was a 600-person event,
Yeah.
2019. But 80 people show up. Most of them were guys. I'd never been to a dance lesson where the guys outnumbered the girls, or like, the follower leader ratio.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. It was so amazing. Loved it so much. And I do think that there was maybe at that point some trust that people started to have in me. Not that they didn't trust me, but I tend to have these grand ideas.
Yes.
And every time I do that, I'm afraid every single time. And I think, what if this doesn't work? What if this doesn't work? And when you start to learn to be brave, you then start to realize that it's okay if it doesn't. And even though I don't want that to be the case, and so it's the same thing for PressConf. PressConf itself, I feel like is that grand idea. The whole thing is that
Yeah.
grand idea, and it was cute for Raquel a year ago to think like, if anyone could do it, I can do it. But the amount of work and effort that it takes meant I had to quit my day job, my salaried day job, and that was so scary. But as I'm going forward and I'm seeing the magic that is potentially going to happen, is that this event itself is potentially going to blow everybody's mind. And
Yeah.
if I'm not going to do everything possible to make that happen, then I shouldn't be doing this. And that leads into my entire company. That's what I'm providing. And even the
Yeah.
name of my company comes from this idea to be curious about wonder and to be curious about events with me and how they're going to be different than events with others. And that I come from this very uncomfortable place for a lot of people of like, not only will this event be successful, but this event will be a touch in your soul and your psyche that's gonna fill that cup, that love cup that you have, even if it's just a little bit, but
Yeah.
that it's gonna be part of it.
Yeah. I love that. I don't think honestly, after working with you on a number of events and seeing what you're doing with PressConf, I don't think you can do just like an event. Like it's anything you do, you bring your whole self to. You bring your whole passion to. So every event that you're going to do as part of your company I'm excited to see what's next. It's because you're going to bring your whole self. I don't see you, I've never seen you do anything that isn't filled with that, filled with big ideas, filled with pushing things to the next level. So, what do you see next?
um I do want to kind of keep it chill for a little bit in that I want to run the company by myself and have
Hmm.
help, like contracted help where I need it. Just for a few years, only because I was a very young mom And
Yeah.
I had my youngest just graduated almost a year ago now. And I need to kind of chill. And the last 7 years have been a lot of not chill
Mm.
and a lot of advocacy and fighting the good fight and really, really good, really amazing things that have happened the last 7 years. But now that I don't have that role, and I know Kathy, you know what that's like. Well, and I think your youngest is about to graduate. um,
She just did.
oh, wow.
She finished up early. And I'm still teaching her how to drive. But yeah, it's a weird place when your mom for so many years, and then all of a sudden they don't need you quite as much, but they need you more in some ways, you know?
Right, exactly, exactly. And so I'm very intentional with all of them of like I'm no longer mom gonna wipe your butt, even figuratively, which you still kind of do a lot of that when they're teenagers and in high school, and you are legally their guardian. You are legally responsible for them. And now they all answer for themselves. And so as I'm navigating that, I don't want to go big just yet with
Yeah.
the biz. So in that sense, I kind of have this like kind of sweet spot of maybe two big events per year
Yeah.
and like a spring fall. And then also something that my company is going to be offering are group retreats and group travel, whether
Oh,
that's like
cool.
a corporate of, like retreat or even like family summer camp style, and to have a couple of those sprinkled in for now. So that's my big vision for a couple of years. And as I also get my bearings in life, and there's, on the personal level, there's things happening that I've been waiting to happen for such a long time. And I want that to play out how it needs to play out right now and
Yeah.
not be distracted with dollar signs in my eyes. And I think, I'm sure you recognize this too. Like we have more time than we think. Even as we grow older, we have more time than we think. And I want to really invest in me right now,
Hmm.
and and then get to this point where my kids are more into their adult life, and I'm very settled in my personal life, and then maybe can like grow the company and do all sorts of fun big things with it. So we'll see how it goes over the next few years.
Exciting. Well, I am so excited. I'm excited about PressConf, but I'm even more excited that you're pushing outside of comfort zones and finding out how amazing you really are. You're really seeing it because this community needs you, and I don't think anybody else could do it.
Mm,
Honestly, I don't think definitely not the way you're doing it. So I hope that you know that so many of us appreciate everything that you're doing for the community, for us, because I think we kind of need it right now.
mm. I appreciate it. I will say that I'm a words of affirmation girl, so I could hear it all day long and it will never get old. So I appreciate it so much, Kathy.
Yeah, you're very welcome. If somebody wanted to give you more words of affirmation, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
I mean, I'm everywhere. I'm on all
Yeah.
the socials. Essentially, some variation of Raquel Karina with a K.
Hmm.
It's pretty. I mean, if we all have a lot of mutuals, then you will find me pretty fast.
Yeah.
And as yeah, I will say I'm super active on a personal level on Instagram and love
Yeah.
it, but definitely on Twitter and doing all the good things in all the places. So.
Yeah, amazing. Cool. Well, thank you for joining me here today, and talking about PressConf and your journey with events, because I think it's inspiring. And also, you just you share so much of your heart and so much of your own personal journey, and it's so inspiring to just watch you kind of step into who you really are. And I hope that that's the big takeaway that people get,
Mm.
is that they find some of that for themselves too.
Oh, so much. Thanks,
Yeah.
Kathy.
Yes, thanks for being here, and we will see you next time on Zantastic.